Alright, we're back with another Hot Takes video. What is this, the 5th one in this series? 6th? Something like that. It's the 2nd one this month though, or the 2nd one in 1 month I should say. You guys really hit it out of the park with the last episode, so I said, since you all did so good with the likes and everything, we're gonna do another one really quick. So 2 weeks ago I put out a post on my community page asking you to comment your hottest COD Zombies take, and yeah, it's quite a few. We have enough here. I honestly might make a second video out of the rest of the submissions. We'll see. I'll do a second one with those submissions if this video does good. So if you want to see a part 2, drop a like. The first hot take of the video though is from Gavin, and he says Origins is not the best zombies map of all time. The RNG removes a lot of the fun from it. You can have a smooth run with no flaws, or a complete shit show just because the numbers weren't in your favor. It's mainly an Easter egg problem, but that's what I find most enjoyable about zombies. Horizon Drac and Shadows are significantly better based on their lack of randomness. I love Origins. I think Origins is great, but I do agree that I think it's not the best zombies map of all time. I did think this was the case about 10 years ago, but ever since Shadows came out, that has been my single favorite zombies map of all time. And Horizon Drac was a close number 2 with Origins for a long time, but a couple years ago, it overtook Origins. So right now, my top 3 goes Shadows, DE, Origins. I can only think of one thing in Origins Easter egg that would really ruin your game. Well, I guess 2 if you're playing BO3. 1 is the Rainfire step, obviously. You can either get that step done and over with in like 30 seconds, or it'll take you 30 minutes like it has taken me before. One time, it's taken me as long as an hour to do. Matter of fact, do I still have the gameplay of that? Let me see. I highly doubt I do, but yeah, I do have the footage. Oh my god. This step has literally taken me an hour to do before. This step alone, just waiting for the RNG. So if you get bad RNG on the Rainfire step, it can definitely ruin your experience on Origins. But how often are you going to have a 1 in 3 chance not go in your favor 5, 10, 20 times in a row? The other step that could be really RNG dependent is the Ascent from Darkness step if you're doing it on BO3, or if you're doing it, I guess, on BO2 too without a glitch. But yeah, just waiting for the robots to keep coming through so you can put the staffs down, that can definitely eat up your time too. Especially the Rainfire step. If you get bad RNG on it, there are few things in zombies that are worse. Fry says, Damned from Vanguard, hear me out, is a top 2 out of all Damned themes, and when that beat drops, it goes so hard. It's got a nice little horror vibe to it with the violin, and then it gets faster while somehow maintaining the creepiness factor. I was just talking about this in my Every Song Ranked video. The one good thing about Vanguard Zombies was Damned. I feel like Damned is one of those songs where no matter how hard you try, it's almost impossible to mess it up. Well, I guess unless we're talking about Black Ops 4 Damned. Still don't know why that was ever in the song, but Damned from Vanguard, it is a pretty good song. But every time I hear it after I listen to it for about a minute, it reminds me just how bad we had it about 2 years ago in this community. The state of COD Zombies was so rough back then. So I don't find myself going back to it often, but when I do, it is a banger until I get PTSD. Khike08 says, Black Ops 3 is massively overrated. It takes up way too much space on consoles, it isn't accessible to new and casual players, and it's easily outclassed by Black Ops 2 and Black Ops 4. Okay, it takes up way too much space on consoles. Most Call of Duties take up way too much space on consoles. This is not a BO3 exclusive thing. Infinite Warfare, World War II, BO4, every Modern Warfare, like, of the past 5 years, Cold War, they all take up almost 100 gigabytes, if not more, which is pretty outrageous, but this is not a BO3 exclusive problem. Again, this has happened on basically every Call of Duty since the PS4 and Xbox One came out. And then you say it isn't accessible to new and casual players? That's kind of debatable. I think it is pretty accessible because, I mean, you don't have to do quests to get into COD Zombies. Get the power and Pack-a-Punch. That's all you need for a first-time player. And for most of the maps in BO3, you can do that without a god. You can do it on the Giant. The Giant is just a power switch and linking 3 teleporters. Horizon Drac is just turning on the power and teleporting 3 Pack-a-Punch pieces. Zetsubo, it's a little more complicated. For power, you gotta turn on 2 temporary powers, and then a 3rd power switch in the bunker, and for Pack-a-Punch, you gotta grab 3 parts. For Garad Krovi, again, it's just a simple power switch. You gotta defend 3 Groff modules to get to Pack-a-Punch. Pretty simple. And for Revelations, you just gotta basically do the same thing as Origins, where you just go around the map, stand on the platform for 10 seconds until it finishes, and trap the Apothicon in the middle. All of those, besides maybe Zetsubo, a first-time player could do, without a doubt. I mean, if you need a guide to tell you how to turn on the power on the Giant or Horizon Drac, I don't know what to tell you, man. You say that Black Ops 3 isn't accessible to new to casual players, and then you turn right back around and say it's easily outclassed by Black Ops 4. Black Ops 4 is way less casual friendly than BO3 is. Black Ops 3 is so much more casual friendly than BO4. Like, it's not even close. I love Black Ops 4, but that's one of the reasons I love Black Ops 4, is because the game is catered towards hardcore players like myself, especially with like Easter eggs and stuff. So while you could have a bunch of legitimate complaints about BO3, you saying it's overrated because it takes up too much storage and it's not as accessible as like a Black Ops 4, I just feel like those talking points don't work. I'm sorry. Channel member Nuke Man says, Transit has the most zombies-esque feel and aura to it out of any zombies map. The setting and the story behind the map and how it came to be are the spookiest there is. I firmly believe Transit will also go down as one of the greatest maps in history. Bonus hot take, Victus is also the best crew. Wow. Yeah, there's a lot of hot take in here. Let me tell you what I do agree with first. Transit does have a killer vibe. It really does feel like you're like playing through a horror game. You feel so lonely and stranded and helpless, and you have all the terrifying ambience, even like when you're in round 2 in the diner just trying to hit the box. You'll hear random boards creaking and lightning striking everywhere and lava popping, and if you go in the fog you hear the shrieks of the denizens. Oh, it is so unnerving. But with that being said, Transit having an awesome atmosphere is about all I got going for it, to be honest. If only we could have got Transit's atmosphere with like an actual good zombies map, with not a bunch of infuriating changes, and Transit was on a game that was not very limited on its current hardware, Transit could have been great. It could have been. And it could have reached the full potential of what they were trying to achieve with it if they just changed a few things, and also if they were making this like a couple years in the future. Like if they were trying to make this exact map on BO3's game engine, it would be a night and day difference. No pun intended. Transit is like, it's like Black Ops 4. Transit had the perfect storm of stuff to keep going wrong, to make the map, dare I say, unbearable. That'll piss off a couple Transit fans watching this, but the map sucks. Matey, I think, says 5 is better than Kino. 5's challenge, the crew, and especially the Pentagon Thief makes it one of the best maps in BO1 to come back to. Yeah, 5 is better than Kino. It's a lot better than Kino. Kino was the first zombies map I ever played, but I can't go back and play it anymore. I can maybe play it once a year, but I can't even tell you when the last time I played Kino was. BO1 or BO3. Whereas 5, like you say, it's challenging. It has something to keep you coming back. It's not just turn your brain off, hit the box, get the thunder gun, and win. You have to think about how you're going to play the early game. You have to think about what you're going to do in the first Pentagon Thief round. Do you want to try and get the bonfire sale? How are you going to do that? Should you get double tap first or Juggernog? And like you say, the crew, oh man. The crew on 5 is one of the best crews of all time. An awesome crew to fit an awesome map, a map that is way better than Kino. Michael says, just killing zombies stopped being fun after I grew up. That's why I don't like early zombies anymore. I much prefer fleshed out quests that end the game upon completion. As someone that grew up playing BO1, BO2, and a decent amount of World at War, those games just aren't fun for me anymore, for the most part. I mean, you do have a couple maps in there like World at War Deriz, World at War Varuk, Call of the Dead, 5. There are a couple maps in those games that I still like going back to, but for the most part, I don't see myself going back to the older games. I'm like you, I much prefer playing Easter eggs, and difficult Easter eggs, stuff that isn't just stand on a platform for 2 minutes and use lunar landers at 4 locations or whatever. It's part of the reason why I prefer Blood of the Dead over Mob of the Dead. It's because Blood of the Dead, even if you don't like the quest, it's still a difficult quest that you can do in solo and co-op, whereas Mob of the Dead is just a co-op only Easter egg that's flying to Pack-a-Punch 3 times and inserting some numbers in the control panel and listening to dialogue. But you saying you prefer fleshed out quests that end the game upon completion? No, no, no. That needs to stop, and thankfully it is. Kevin Drew already confirmed that the main quest will not end your game in BO6, which is how they should be. You can still have a very impactful Easter egg that doesn't end the game. Look at Moon, look at Horizon Drac, Gorod Crovey. But every map since Revelations has ended the game upon completion. And it's the dumbest thing ever. I really don't understand why they started doing that. Slime Lime says, Infinite Warfare Zombies is one of the best zombies experiences. Not only is the super Easter egg rewarding, but the Mephistopheles boss fight is the most intense boss fight in zombies history. Also, I love the aura the maps have. Silly and fun, but it feels like zombies. To respond to your last part first, I love the vibes of the map too. Spaceland feels amazing. Rave, oh my god. Rave is just beautiful. one of the best looking maps of all time. It's a shame you can't really go into rave mode past round 10 without needing to use a smiley wonder weapon. The Cheeks wonder weapon. Shaolin Shuffle, I mean, whatever. It looks cool. Like, they hit the theme that they were going for, but I'm just not a big fan of it. I love how Attack feels. Attack is just vibes to the max. A 50s diner and motel with Elvira and a cheesy ass Krog destroying everything. Oh my god. It's just cheesy 50s vibes, and it's awesome. And Beast from Beyond looks amazing. Both the theater part and like the outside part by the Pack-a-Punch machine and everything. Or I think, I forget, is it Jupiter? We're on one of the moons of Jupiter? I don't remember, but yeah, they all look great. And Mephistopheles, hands down, it's the single best boss fight ever made in zombies. I doubt it'll be topped. Who knows, maybe they're cooking something with BO6. I'm not really expecting it though, but it's the hardest boss fight ever, and also it's the best boss fight ever. Peter says, Revelations has the worst Easter egg in BO3 solely because it has steps that heavily push on using Mega Gobblegums. Need an Apothecon servant in Little Arnie's? Use Immolation to bypass starting those steps in a high round, or also requiring cashbacks and raindrops to do the low Arnie step quicker. It just sucks because some people may not like using Megas, or at the same time may not have them to do the steps. Also, RNG steps like that really suck. You're kinda right and kinda wrong. You can say Revelations has the worst Easter egg in BO3, but I don't think it's because they push you to use Megas. Just about every single Easter egg in this game pushes you to use Megas. Shadows of Evil, the flag step. How were you supposed to beat it on launch? Killing Time. The Horizon Track had a really hard boss fight at the time, with a boatload of panzers. How do you beat it? Head Drama, the DLC one Gobblegum. And in Garage Curvy, they wanted you to use either Undead Man Walking or a Fatal Contraption. I just think a lot of people think this Easter egg sucks because it has some really stupid steps in it. Like, the Arnie step is pretty dumb. And you are right to an extent where using cashbacks or raindrops will make it quicker, but I don't think that's what they had in mind. I just think they were trying to make it really hard for people to do. Why do I think that? Well, because the next step requires you to look across the map and shoot 6 rocks and shoot them up with your Apothecon servant. It's not because they tried to push you to use Megas, it's because of how the steps were made to begin with. And also, Revelations recycling Shadow's boss fight has nothing to do with them pushing Mega Gums. But yeah, sometimes RNG does suck in a zombies map, like what we talked about earlier. Origins. Channel member Jabot says, Shadow's Easter egg sucks because it's a giant fuck you to the solo players. Every step can be completed by one person except for the final one. And then he says, super hot take, people shouldn't stream late at night. Yeah, people shouldn't stream late at night. I don't know what people would stream late at night for. Shame on them. If you stream after like 10 p.m., 11 p.m., I don't know what you're doing. That was a joke directed at myself. I really don't get what they were doing with that. Like, were they trolling? Because it really doesn't make any sense why they'd allow you to do the entire Easter egg up to the last step in solo, but stop the gate worm from spawning because you don't have 4 players. It's so lame. Like, they could have very easily made it to where in solo you shock all 3 rails in the beast mode, and then you call the tram and go back in beast mode and shock the keepers. It was right there, and they fumbled it. And this always has been my biggest gripe with Shadows of Evil. It's my favorite map of all time, but this is the only thing in it that I cannot stand. Channel member Nick says, Shangri-La is a very good zombies map, mainly due to the baby gun and the environment. I don't know if I'd say it's a very good zombies map, but it's definitely a good zombies map. I think Shang is a lot of fun, probably because it's really challenging. So when I do play it, I'm not getting bored out of my mind in the first 10 minutes like I am on like Kino or Ascension. Yeah, the baby gun is awesome. The environment's awesome. It's the second best looking map of all time. It's just, or at least on BO3 anyway. It's just, and Shangri-La is one of 3 maps in this game where I like the boss enemy. I like the Napalm Zombie and the Shrieker. I like them both. Then the other ones I like the Pentagon Thief, obviously. And I like George. I do. I think he's different. I think he's cool. But that's besides the point. I think the Napalm Zombie and the Shrieker both fit this map perfectly. And I feel like they aren't too overpowered. Like, the Shrieker can be really annoying sometimes, but like the Napalm Zombie, dude, I love the Napalm Zombie, especially when I'm going for high rounds. I see a Napalm Zombie coming up, like, in the training spot to the left of the spawn. It's awesome, because I can shoot him and kill him, and the fire will kill the zombies that walk through it for the next 30 seconds. So it's basically like a trap. But yeah, Shangri-La, it's a great map. Oculus says, Advanced Warfare, for all its flaws, is a great fun, and unique experience. They tried something different, and whilst to some, it was deemed a failure, to myself and a lot of others in the community, it provided something new in style. I definitely agree. This is a hot take, for sure. I'm kind of weird because I like Advanced Warfare's campaign, and I loved Advanced Warfare's multiplayer. I found it so much fun back in the day. I was pretty much a sweat without knowing I was a sweat. I wasn't paying too much attention to like MLG or nothing back then, but me and all my friends had like a 3 KD. We took the multiplayer way too seriously. I miss being 14 with no responsibilities. But for the zombies, I don't know. I go back and forth with this game mode. Sometimes I'll like it, sometimes I won't, sometimes I'll love it, sometimes I'll hate it. It really depends on just how my last game ever went. But I think I can speak for everybody watching this video and everyone else in the COD community. Call of Duty, if you're watching this video, we want a W2. Make it happen. Channel member Better Than Starlight says, if the Darkest Shore didn't have a damned Manscaped razor as a wonder weapon, what? And something actually good, it would be an A tier map. No, it would not. That map is flawed from the ground up. The fog is way too bad, and they have a boss that spawns in the fog, and only in the fog, because that makes sense. The Easter egg is a damn mess. People think Blood of the Dead has the bad Easter egg and a complicated Easter egg with steps that never work. Go play the Darkest Shores. Go do that stupid U-boat pen step on solo. Go do the stupid moisture step on solo. Have fun running back and forth and back and forth and back and forth everywhere. Have fun trying to kill 2 boss enemies melee only to maybe get a charged spawn. You could go through all the work of trying to kill a moisture with the saw to get the charged spawn, and it doesn't give you the charged spawn. That right there is one of the dumbest things I have ever seen in a zombies map ever. I need to calm down. Thank you, Starlight, for mentioning the Darkest Shore. Dr. Dover Queen says Classified is way more fun and replayable than 5. Now, we were just talking about this, how 5 is a better map than Kino. I also think that 5 is a better map than Classified. Classified's just missing something. And it's not the creepiness of 5, and it's not just because they took out the Pentagon Thief either. Classified's just missing something. I think it's because 5's map layout doesn't really work with BO4's health system and perk system, because having no boss enemies on that map and having an infinite damage wonder weapon, and a lot of the really tight CQC areas from 5 were made a little bit bigger in BO4 so that 2 player-sized hitboxes could go through at once. I think a combination of all of those things, plus a couple more, make Classified a snooze fest. At least in my opinion. And the final hot take in this video comes from Ian, and he says, Carpenter being removed from BO6 was honestly a good change. It's been the most useless power-up for a long time now, and I can't remember the last time I built a barrier. And when they are barricaded, it just slows the game down. The next change they need to do is make nukes give you a certain amount of points per zombie killed, so it's not an automatic avoidance. Anyone that disagrees can fight me. Well, I do not disagree with you, so we don't have to fight. I do think it's a good thing that Carpenter was removed, because while I don't see anything wrong with keeping barriers in a game, having Carpenters in BO1, BO2, and especially BO3, it was by far the worst power-up in the game. And even in BO4, where they changed it to where it replenishes your shield health, that is a good change, but I mean, I feel like at that point they could have just made an entirely new drop instead of adding to Carpenter, but better late than never, I guess. They did finally change it in BO6. They swapped the Carpenter drop with the max armor drop, which, I mean, it makes a lot more sense. Max armor, what does it do? Gives you max armor. In BO4, if you grabbed a Carpenter, you wouldn't know it repaired your shield unless you either A, were told ahead of time, or B, just happened to look at your shield health when you picked one up. And also, I like your nuke change. Just making it like 25 points per zombie killed with the nuke. I think that'd be really cool. But if you tune that up too much, then you run the risk of nukes being too overpowered in the early rounds. And if you're constantly looking for nukes to take out the zombies for you, then, I mean, you're not really playing zombies at that point, you know? But BO6 as a whole, it has made some really good changes, and I can't wait to see how this game plays come October 25th. By the way, if you guys are also excited for BO6, make sure you're ready, because we're going to be pumping out content like crazy once this game comes out. Thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Like I said, if this video gets enough likes, I'll go back into that comment section of my community post, and I'll grab another like 15 to 20 hot takes. So if you want to see another, drop a like. Huge shout out to all of my members. Thank you all so much for supporting me. I really do appreciate it. If you want to be a member and get access to members only badges, members only videos, guaranteed to be in hot take videos, and more, you can do so by clicking the join button down below or by clicking the first link in the description. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.